Welcome to After Dark, the thinkers, your nightly escape into the lives and minds that shaped our world. I'm your host, and as the stars begin to twinkle outside, we invite you to settle in for a captivating journey. Tonight, we re-venturing into the extraordinary cosmos of a man whose ideas quite literally shifted our understanding of the universe. Isaac Newton. Prepare to drift into the quiet brilliance of a mind that saw the world in ways no one had before. A solitary genius who deciphered the invisible threads that hold the cosmos together. Grab a warm drink, find your most comfortable spot, and let's begin our cinematic exploration into the life of Isaac Newton. Our story begins not with a grand announcement, but in the quiet, pastoral heart of Woolsthorpe, Lincolnshire, England, on Christmas Day in 1642. A fragile, premature baby was born, so tiny he could fit into a quart pot, and so weak that no one expected him to survive. This was Isaac Newton arriving into a world on the cusp of profound change, though his own beginnings were humble and tinged with hardship. His father, a prosperous yeoman farmer, also named Isaac Newton, had died 3 months before his birth, leaving his mother, Hannah Ascoof, to raise him alone. When Isaac was just 3 years old, his mother remarried a wealthy minister, Barnabas Smith, and moved to his new home, leaving young Isaac in the care of his maternal grandmother. This early separation, a profound emotional wound, would shape much of Newton's solitary and often intense personality. He harbored resentment towards his stepfather and, at times, even his mother for this abandonment, a feeling that perhaps fueled his later relentless pursuit of knowledge and recognition. Growing up, Isaac was not a robust child, nor was he particularly fond of the physical demands of farm life. Instead, his mind was often elsewhere, observing, tinkering, and creating. He was fascinated by mechanical devices, building intricate wooden models like working windmills, water clocks, and even a carriage that could be powered by its occupant. He once attached a lantern to the tail of a kite and flew it at night, astonishing his superstitious neighbors who believed it was a comet. These early inventions weren't just childish games, they were the nascent stirrings of a powerful analytical mind, one that sought to understand the mechanisms behind the world around him. His education began at local schools, eventually leading him to the King's School in Grantham at the age of 12. Here he boarded with the apothecary, William Clark, and it was in this environment, surrounded by books and chemicals, that his intellectual curiosity truly began to blossom. He devoured books, filled notebooks with designs and observations, and reportedly constructed sundials and elaborate contraptions, earning him a reputation as an exceptionally bright but peculiar boy. Despite this early promise, his mother, upon the death of her second husband, called him back to Woolsthorpe in 1659, hoping he would take up the responsibilities of managing the family estate. But farming held no appeal for Isaac. He was notoriously bad at it. Often found engrossed in a book under a tree or solving mathematical problems rather than tending to livestock or crops. Recognizing his son's true calling, his uncle and the headmaster of King's School convinced his mother that Isaac's talents lay not in the soil, but in the realm of academia. And so, in June of 1661, at the age of 18, Isaac Newton set off for Trinity College, Cambridge, a journey that would irrevocably alter his destiny and the course of human understanding. Cambridge in the 17th century was a hub of intellectual activity, though still largely dominated by Aristotelian philosophy. Newton, however, was drawn to the cutting edge of mathematics and natural philosophy. He enrolled as a sizar, a student who performed menial duties to pay for his education. This humble beginning didn't deter his intellectual hunger. He devoured the works of Descartes, Galileo, Copernicus, and Kepler, moving far beyond the standard curriculum. He filled countless notebooks, meticulously recording his thoughts, experiments, and revolutionary ideas. The year 1665, however, brought an unexpected turning point. The Great Plague swept across England, forcing Cambridge University to close its doors. Newton, like many students, returned to the relative safety of his family home in Woolsthorpe, from 1665 to 1667. Known today as his Annus Mirabilis, his Year of Wonders was perhaps the most intellectually fertile period of his entire life. Far from the distractions of university, in the quiet solitude of his childhood home, Newton's genius exploded. It was during these 2 years that he laid the foundations for calculus, developed his theory of optics, and, most famously, began to formulate his theory of universal gravitation. The story of the apple falling from a tree, while likely embellished, captures the essence of his profound insight. A simple observation sparking a monumental realization about the forces that govern the cosmos. He began to ask, if an apple falls to the ground because of an unseen force, might that same force extend to the moon, keeping it in orbit around the Earth? This wasn't just a hypothesis. It was the first breakthrough towards unifying the terrestrial and celestial realms under a single, elegant law. Upon his return to Cambridge in 1667, Newton's brilliance was undeniable. He quickly rose through the academic ranks, becoming a Fellow of Trinity College and, remarkably, the Lucasian Professor of Mathematics at the age of 26, a position previously held by his mentor, Isaac Barrow. Despite this rapid ascent, Newton remained a profoundly private and often solitary individual. His personality was complex. He could be intensely focused, obsessive, and at times fiercely protective of his ideas, leading to notorious intellectual disputes with contemporaries like Robert Hooke and Gottfried Leibniz. His struggles were often internal, battling insecurity and a deep-seated fear of criticism. He preferred to work in isolation, often forgoing food and sleep in his pursuit of answers. He once remarked, "If I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." Yet he also fiercely defended his own intellectual territory, sometimes to the detriment of his relationships. The culmination of his work, and arguably one of the most important scientific books ever written, was the Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, often simply called the Principia, published in 1687, largely due to the persistence and financial support of his friend Edmund Halley. This monumental 3-volume work presented Newton's 3 laws of motion and his law of universal gravitation. It was a mathematical description of how objects move and interact, from the smallest pebble to the largest planet. The Principia didn't just explain the falling apple. It explained the tides, the orbits of planets, and the paths of comets, all with astonishing precision. It showed that the universe was not a chaotic collection of independent phenomena, but a grand, elegant machine operating according to precise, discoverable laws. This wasn't just a scientific achievement, it was a philosophical one, profoundly impacting the Age of Enlightenment and inspiring generations of thinkers to seek rational explanations for the world. His work also extended into optics, where he famously demonstrated that white light is composed of a spectrum of colors using a prism, challenging prevailing theories. He even designed and built the first reflecting telescope, significantly improving astronomical observation. As he grew older, Newton's life moved beyond the confines of academic research. He became warden and later master of the Royal Mint, a role in which he proved remarkably effective, stamping out counterfeiting and reforming England's currency with characteristic rigor. He was elected president of the Royal Society in 1703 and was knighted by Queen Anne in 1705, becoming Sir Isaac Newton, the first scientist to receive such an honor. Despite his public duties and accolades, he never married and remained largely a solitary figure, dedicating his later years to theological studies, alchemy, and further scientific revisions. He meticulously analyzed biblical prophecies and sought to reconcile his scientific findings with his deep religious faith. Isaac Newton passed away on March 20, 1727, at the age of 84, and was buried with immense honor in Westminster Abbey. The legacy of Isaac Newton is simply immeasurable. His work in mathematics, particularly the development of calculus, provided the essential tools for understanding change and motion, laying the groundwork for much of modern physics and engineering. His laws of motion and universal gravitation provided a comprehensive and predictive framework for understanding the physical universe, dominating scientific thought for over 2 centuries until Einstein's theory of relativity. More than just his specific discoveries, Newton championed a new way of thinking, one based on observation, experimentation, and mathematical reasoning. He demonstrated the power of the human mind to uncover the fundamental laws governing reality, inspiring countless scientists and philosophers to follow in his footsteps. The universe, after Newton, was a knowable place, governed by elegant principles that could be deciphered through intellect and inquiry. He proved that even the most profound mysteries could be unveiled with careful observation and rigorous thought. His ideas reshaped humanity's place in the cosmos, moving us from a world of mystical forces to one of predictable laws. His genius, though often solitary and intense, illuminated the path for all who came after him, forever changing our understanding of gravity, physics, and the very fabric of existence. As the night deepens and we reflect on the quiet brilliance of Isaac Newton, we hope this journey through his life has offered you a moment of peaceful contemplation. His story reminds us that even in solitude, a powerful mind can unlock the greatest secrets of the universe. Thank you for joining us on After Dark, The Thinkers. If you found solace and inspiration in Newton's tale, please consider giving this video a like and sharing it with others who appreciate profound stories. And if you're new here, we'd be honored if you subscribe to our channel. Drift through the stories of Einstein, Curie, Turing, and other pioneers whose thoughts shaped our future. Until next time, listen, learn, and dream. Good night.